The weekend is upon us after another very busy news week here across the country. And to discuss what went down as well as the highs and lows, we welcome tonight's media panel. Beverly Hallberg, District Media Group President and Senior Fellow at the Independent Women's Forum, and Curtis Houck, Newsbusters Managing Editor. I look forward to this segment all the time because it gives us a chance to sort of unpack what in the world went on. I want to take you, Curtis, first, and I just want to share this from Tuesday, a headline, Doocy on the border, and they're not talking about our Peter Doocy. Tell me about that. Why is this relevant for you?
Yeah, the White House is apparently triggered by the fact that Bill Melugin, spends time at the southern border reporting on what he sees, which is record numbers of migrants coming across the border, some of them tragically drowning, and then sharing it with the rest of the world. I mean, they say that he is alarmist in his behavior, and he's not displaying nuance in his coverage, Kevin. I mean, I just find that so absurd that in this media age, a reporter who spends time in the field in his boots on the ground is seen as an alarmist and not displaying nuance, and has drawn the ire of the White House. And when the White House tried to peddle this on Politico with the second story on Wednesday, their pushback, he was an Abercrombie model in college. Oh, no.
Oh, no. Heaven forbid. That's an interesting highlight of the week for you, Curtis. Let me bring you in, Beverly, to the conversation. What's your highlight for the week?
Well, my media highlight of the week is royal commentator Hillary Fordich, who stunned Don Lemon into silence on his brand new morning show. She brought reason and fact to the table, turning the narrative against the typical reparations commentary. So basically, instead of agreeing with Don Lemon on what reparations should be, she brought some historical facts. She talked about William Wilberforce and how the Brits were the first country to abolish slavery. And she rightly pointed out that the majority of slaves were sold by their own people, by African leaders. Well, Don Lemon didn't know what to do with this. He actually had this long, awkward silence and then quickly went to commercial break. And I think what it points out is when you can poke holes in the typical narrative, you win the argument. And so that is why she is my winner of the week.
You know, I watched it live, and I have to admit, I was like, well, that was something. But I'm not just going to tell you about it. I'm going to let the folks at home watch it because this was, well, we'll let you judge.
When the slavery was taking place, which was the first nation in the world that abolished slavery? The first nation in the world to abolish it. It was started by William Wilberforce, was the British.
The look on the face, Curtis, was a sight to see. So that was Beverly's high point of the week. What about your low point?
My low point was the media coverage rushing to defend Stacey Abrams for her coverage, insisting that the ultrasound machines for pregnant women is really just a beeping sound. It's some sort of moon landing level conspiracy theory. And of course, we had the Washington Post, Glenn Kessler, the so-called fact checker, running after him. And my colleague Bill D'Agostino at Newsbusters put together a hall of shame over the years, showing how the media have really created this narrative, whether it's the Washington Post, the New York Times, the Atlantic, suggesting that this is some sort of pseudoscience machine, I guess, created by men or whatever. They're really willing to do anything to cover up for Stacey Abrams and help create this narrative for the pro-abortion side. And if the media were honest in this tight election season, they would be covering gaffes from both sides. But thus far, we have not seen that with this from Stacey Abrams.
No, and you've seen this pattern actually dating back, I think, over the last 6 years. If one side makes a mistake, misspeaks or flubs a fact, lie, and people go crazy. But the other side does it. It's like, oh, well, you know, accidents happen. Speaking of accidents, your low light for the week, Beverly, is a sight to see. Tell me about it, then we'll let the folks at home see.
Yeah, this is White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre, who struggled very much answering how she could discuss the president saying in his 60 Minutes interview on Sunday when he said the pandemic is over. She struggled to have a response, not only trying to walk it back, saying that that's not what he really meant, but even pointing out that he was walking through the Detroit car show, making us all think that maybe he was just distracted by cars. But a poor response by her all the way around.
That was a tough one because you would think that she would be better prepared because she's seen it happen. I'm sure she talked about it with the staff, And for some reason, in the moment, she just missed on that one. Let me share what she said so you can watch what Beverly just described.
So the president said, and he was very clear in his 60 Minutes interview, that COVID remains a problem, and we're fighting it, and we have to continue to make sure that we are fighting this once in a generation pandemic. And so here's the thing: what he believes is we can acknowledge that the massive amount of progress that we have made.
Again, a lot of this is just practice your answer. Practice your answer repeatedly. Get good at it. And if they go one way, you go the other way. But, that's just time on the job. And obviously, she's still learning as we go. Beverly and Curtis, real pleasure to have you with us on a Friday. Have a great weekend. Thank you.
You too, Kevin. Thanks.